Welcome to practice. This is a forward fold class that is designed to bring you home and a little closer to yourself. I love practicing forward folds. They're deeply nourishing. They stimulate our parasympathetic nervous system, which is the branch of the autonomic nervous system that is our rest and digest cycle. So anytime we're feeling ungrounded, overstimulated, disconnected from ourselves, forward folds are an invitation back to our core self. I actually want to start practice today with a little bit of self-massage and some techniques that are really good for your feet and for preparing the body for asana. It's summertime right now. It might not be when you're taking this class, but I know for myself, often in summer, I get tight calves and tight feet from hiking and, wearing those terrible flip-flops, which are not great for our feet, but it is what it is. So to begin, I'd like you to grab some blankets or a bolster to sit on, just to elevate your pelvis. And the way you sit might not be exactly the way that I'm sitting, depending on your hip flexibility. But I want you to take your right foot and put it up on your knee. Again, you can keep this leg out extended if that's easier for you. And the first thing that we're going to do is actually weave our fingers between the webbing of our toes. So you might want to make sure you've washed your feet. So you're going to take your pinky finger next to your baby toe, and best you can, wiggle those in there. And I know I have some students that have really, their feet have been really compressed from years of wearing pointed-toed shoes and high heels and whatnot. If this is like excruciating, you might need to start with some of those little toe separators that women use when they paint their toenails. But best you can, get your fingers down into the webbing of the toes and really spread the toes. So I'm actually taking my fingers and spreading them like a starfish to widen the space between my toes. Now, some of what we're going to do with our feet might be uncomfortable, and it's important to know the difference between discomfort and dangerous pain, because when joints get calcified or we've had an injury and all those tissues get hardened and densed around a joint, it can be painful to break that up, but leaving it as it is and not tending to it is ultimately more painful. So another moment, spreading your toes. And now the same hand, your left hand that's holding your toes, take that thumb and push it into, this is called your transverse arch, this spot from your big toe to your baby toe. Put your thumb right into the middle of that and start to massage that. And if you find a spot that's really, really sore, like there's some acupressure points, your thyroid is in this area, it's near the big toe, you might find some really tender spots in your foot, in which case you can just hold a little pressure on it and give it like a little tiny gentle circular motion, but you don't need to back off or back away from areas that are painful. It's probably exactly what you need. So give that a nice massage, really getting that left thumb deep into the tissues. Your foot and your ankles have so many tiny little bones in them and so much tissue. It's a really complicated structure. There's more bones in the foot than, most of the rest of your body, certainly more than there are in, the spine. Good. And then get your other hand involved now, and you're going to work your thumb up the whole of, this is called your medial arch, the whole inner edge of the foot. So in Katoni Yoga and from some of our Chinese medicine and Ayurveda practices, the heel of the foot is actually considered to be the pelvis, and your big toe is your head. So you can think that in a way, it's like you're massaging the whole of your body as you do this. And while you're doing this, rather than just, going after it in a really, casual, non-sensual way, and I don't mean sexual by the word sensual, can you really be attentive to your own touch, to what you're feeling in your body, and use this as a real act of self-love and self-care? So keep gently massaging the foot. You might find some really sore spots in there. And then again, if you find a really sore spot, you can hold a little pressure on it and just make maybe gentle circles with your thumb. And breathe. It's important to breathe nice and deep. Might even look at your foot a little bit, especially if you don't love your feet, extending some gentle love and care through your own hands, through your own touch. Such a powerful thing to do. We all need touch. We all need to come home to ourselves, and it's a gift we can give ourselves. Really nice. Good. Okay, once you've given that a little bit of love, and truly, I do this almost every day in the morning before I practice. Once you've got that, now take your toes and bend them back and forth. So almost like you were just, you're flicking your wrist and bending those toes, and then give the ankle a little roll. So roll the ankle out, flex and point the foot. Whatever other little movements seem intuitive here. My wrist just popped. You might have heard that. Good. And then spread the toes one more time. Give them a nice big spread, spread. And then let that go and extend your legs for a moment and feel the difference of being able to spread your right foot versus being able to spread the toes on the left foot. And then let's switch sides. So take your left hand up and then weave your right fingers between your left toes. I didn't do a very good job attaching this mic today. I think I might need to adjust it before we carry on. Fingers between your toes again, and maybe even pause for a second before you go after the massage. Maybe close your eyes if that feels appropriate, and just take a moment to feel the contact with your own body. Your right hand making contact with the sole of your left foot. These are two planes of potential in your body. Feel your breath, feel your seat. Very good. And then when you're ready, start to spread those toes nice and wide. Good. And then take your right thumb again and put it into that transverse arch. Again, that's the transverse arch is this line from the big toe to the baby toe ball of the foot. And you can really start to massage. And if you find, again, a tender spot, you might hold pressure there or make just like little circles with your thumb. And breathe. A nice ujjayi breath here might feel good. A belly breath. I try not to say diaphragmatic breathing because you're always breathing with your diaphragm. It's impossible to breathe without your diaphragm, so all breath is diaphragmatic. But you might let the belly be nice and soft. Good. And then get your left hand involved. So start to, you can be pretty intuitive about this, but I like to slide from the heel of the foot up to the big toe ball. Using self-touch is a really big deal. In the Ayurveda tradition, the medicine of yoga, we practice self-oil massage. This is sort of a baby version of that. With that practice, we start by pouring oil over the top of our head, massage the whole of the body. It's a very sweet way to connect with yourself, to care for your tissues, to hydrate them. Good. Another moment here. Let it be, again, a real act of love. So much of our yoga practices nowadays are so overly invested in the body and so overly corrective. People are doing yoga to be better, to reach some big goal, to correct or change themselves instead of to grow closer to themselves, which is the real purpose, right? Yoga is the light of self-knowledge, and it's so much bigger than an asana physical practice for getting a toned bum or whatever they say nowadays. And then again, flick your toes back and forth. Feel the joints moving. We have such incredible bodies, you guys, and learning to appreciate them and love them as they are and to practice from love instead of for it is a really, really big transformational shift. And then again, as you're ready, roll out the ankle or whatever movements kind of seem intuitive here. Spread the toes one more time. Super good. Wonderful. And then let that go. And spread your toes again. Hopefully your feet feel a little bit better. We're going to do just a couple more things to our feet, and then we'll move on to our more active practice. So now you're going to come onto your knees and curl your toes under into this toe stand position. If this is excruciating for you, you can put a block or blankets underneath of your knees, and it'll take some of the pressure off. If this hurts you, honestly, it's all the more reason you should start doing it every day. Curl the toes under, and just to distract ourselves from the sensation in our toes, take your arms up, take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, lower the arms back down. Start to match movement and breath. Couple big reaches. Deep breath in, stretch your arms up. Exhale, lower the arms. Good. One more time. Deep breath in, stretch your arms up. Exhale, lower them down. Stay in the toe stand. Take your right arm under your left, crossing at elbows. Bring the backs of your hands to touch, or again, cross at palms. I like to grab my own wrist, so I'm grabbing my left wrist with my right wrist. Take your elbow point slightly forward and slightly up, and then take a nice deep breath in. Punch the wall behind you, a little back bend. And now exhale, curl forward, elbows towards your thighs, round your back. Good. Inhale, come back up to the center. And exhale, unravel the arms, goalpost arms, open up the chest. And let's take the other side. Cross the left elbow under the right. I am again grabbing onto my right wrist with my left hand. You pick a variation appropriate for you. Punch the wall behind yourself, lift up. And then coil in. Take your elbows towards your knees. Deep breath into the upper middle back. Inhale, back up to the center. Uncross the arms, goalpost arms, and then lower them back down. Super nice. You can come off of your toes now, whack the top of your feet on the floor, and just let that go. One more thing, sorry, not sorry. Grab a block and place it between your heels. Put your bum onto the block, and then make 2 fists. And you're going to basically scrape these base knuckles from the heel all the way up to your toes. So with your 2 fists, carve out some space here in your feet. So just gently scooping the knuckles down the arches of the feet. This might feel really intense. It's super good for you though. The plantar fascia that is running down this part of the foot, you've probably heard of plantar fasciitis. We want to keep these tissues really hydrated and mobile. Another moment here. Good deep breaths. Wonderful. Good, one more time. Nice. Take the block out from under your bum and set it aside. And now into the top of the feet, grab your right knee, scoop it up in the palm of your right hand, lean back and lift up your right knee so you're stretching the top of the foot, which is connected to your back. And then lower that back down, pick up the left knee, stretch the top of your left foot. Good. Do that back and forth a couple times, alternating, opening up the front of the shin, the top of the foot. So nice, wonderful. Bring your hands forward to all fours. Plant your hands. We're going to come into a very short downward facing dog. So get your wrists directly underneath of your shoulders and then spin your middle fingers in so that they touch. That's exactly shoulder distance apart. Spin on the heel of the hand fingers forward. Make sure your knees are directly underneath of your hips. And now curl your toes under into a very short downward facing dog so that you can stretch your calves and push your heels towards the floor. So this is not a traditional downward facing dog. I'm not worried about your shoulders or your chest yet. I just want you to really focus on the heels, moving towards the ground. Good. And now walk your feet back just a little bit and take your left heel and spin it in, sort of like a warrior one. So your heel's pointing in, toes pointing out, and then bend your left knee. And you'll feel a deep stretch into your calf muscles called your gastrocnemius and soleus. Big breath. This is really good for your ankle mobility. Super nice. Switch sides, left toes forward. Pin your right heel down on the floor and then bend your right knee. And breathe. Very good. Both heels back to center. Walk your feet forward to your hands now. Coming into Uttanasana, forward fold. Measure 2 fists between the arches of the feet and hang over your legs. Bend your knees so that your knees are coming out towards your armpits. And then take opposite palm to opposite elbow. Wrap your armpits towards your heart. So that's external rotation of the shoulder. And hang over your legs. So rather than the armpit moving away from you and hollowing outward, you're taking it towards the midline of your body, towards the spine. Good. Bring your fingertips to the floor. Inhale and halfway lift, fingertips to shins or floor. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips, and then breathe in and stand all the way up with a flat back. Stand in Tadasana for a moment and just feel your 2 feet on the floor. Spread the toes nice and wide. Lift up through those central arches. Take one more breath in Tadasana, just really organizing yourself. Take your pubic bone slightly towards your navel center. Roll your shoulders down your back nice and tall. And we'll transition into dynamic chair pose, which will help us to warm up the body and prepare for these forward bends. Inhale, take your arms up alongside of your ears. Contract your navel, point back, and exhale, sit back into chair pose. Pause in your chair, take a deep breath in. Now keep your knees bent and exhale, take your belly to your thighs. Drape your fingertips on the floor and let your head go. Inhale, lift your chest again, sit back into chair. Stay here, pause, exhale. Inhale, push all the way up to stand. Exhale, take your arms back to your side. Again, inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, chair. Breathe in. Exhale, belly to thighs, fingertips to the floor. Release the head and neck. Inhale to chair. Stay here, exhale. Inhale to rise. Exhale, arms to your side. Last time, breathe in, arms up. Exhale, chair. Inhale in chair pose. Exhale, belly to thighs, release the head. Inhale, chair pose. Stay, exhale. Inhale to rise. Exhale, take your arms to your side, Tadasana, pause, take a nice deep breath in. Long breath out. Once again, connect to the feeling of your feet on the floor, to the spread of all three arches of the foot. Really nice. Now take your hands to the backs of your thighs at the top of the hamstring, just below your seat. Breathe in through your nose, and as you exhale, contract your navel, point back, trace the backs of your legs, and fold forward. Trace the backs of the legs. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold back down. Keep contact with your legs, flat back. We're going to come all the way up to stand. Trace the backs of your legs. Broaden your collarbones. Plug the heads of the arm bones back all the way up to stand. Good. We're going to do those same movements with a little more fluency and build our exhalation. So take a nice deep breath in, and let's exhale for 6 counts. Fold down. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold for 6. Again, trace the backs of the legs all the way to stand. Flat back, chin in. And this time, let's exhale for 7. Fold back down. Exhale, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Turn again on yourself. Breathe in. Halfway lift. Trace the backs of the legs. Exhale, slow fold. Trace the backs of your legs. Come all the way up to stand. Good. We're going to do that one more time, and we're going to try to put an 8-count exhale on the breath. So as you're doing this, I want you to really think that you're contracting the navel point back, that you're connecting and binding to this ground of being, this lower floor of the body, a little gentle lift in the pelvic floor, and exhaling as slowly as possible. You should be breathing the whole time that you're moving. So the goal isn't to get to the destination, but to feed the movement with the breath and to feed the breath with the movement. So bring the hands once again to the tops of the hamstrings. Take a deep breath in. And then nice and slow, fold forward, chin in, contract the belly back. When you're ready, inhale, halfway lift. Slow fold all the way back down. Inhale all the way to stand. Trace the backs of your legs. Go nice and slow. And pause in Tadasana at the top for a moment. Feel into the body from the feet all the way to the crown of the head. Broaden your shoulder blades, broaden your collarbones, palms forward. So nice. Vrikshasana, tree pose. So weight your left foot and roll your right knee open. Engage your outer left hip so it's moving towards your left heel, and slide your right foot up to your calf, or if you wish, all the way up to your left inner thigh. Push your foot into your thigh and your thigh into your foot. Take your pubic bone slightly towards your navel. If you wish, stretch your arms up to the sky. Wrap your pinky fingers towards your face and hold and breathe. Set your drishti, your gaze, on a point that's not moving. So nice. Bring your hands back to your heart center. Turn the right knee forward and lower the right foot down. Release your arms, stand in Tadasana for a moment. It's really nice to pause in between poses, to let your body acclimate and readjust, and to treat your nervous system with real care. Weight your right foot and wrap your right hip towards your heel. Pull your belly in and roll the left knee open. You can assist your foot up to your thigh or keep it on your calf as you wish. And then again, create that stability point of foot to thigh and thigh to foot. Take your hands to your heart center. And then if you wish, arms up to the sky. Wrap your pinkies towards your face and grow taller with every breath. Nice smooth inhale. Nice smooth exhale. It's really thinking it's almost like you're shooting the roots of the tree out into the ground through that standing foot, and then the buoyancy of the lift up. Good. Take your hands to your heart, your knee forward, and lower your left foot next to your right. Relax your arms. So nice, you guys. Take a deep breath in, stretch your arms up. Slow exhale, fold forward over your legs. Separate your feet hip distance apart, measure 2 fists between the arches. Take your right hand to your left ankle. Take your left hand to your right ankle. And now here, I want you to imagine that you're pushing your ankles out into your hands and feel the way in which that widens your sitting bones. Your thighs are moving forward into the belly. Nice steady breath, a little bend in the knees, and the knees are moving out towards the armpits. And once you have a real sense of that, take your hands and scoop up your heels. So now there is full contact, belly to thighs, palms of the hands to the heels. Lift your buttock bones from the backs of your knees. Nice steady, smooth breath. Bring the pelvis slightly forward in space, so there's a sense of moving towards the ball of the foot, crown of the head pointing straight down. One more big breath. Very good. Uncup the heels, bring your fingertips to the floor, let your head hang heavy, your torso super heavy. Let everything just drape to the floor. And now bend your knees. Think like your knees are 2 trajectories moving forward, and start to roll the spine up, head heavy, torso heavy. When you can't go up any further, drive the pubic bone forward so there's a real wave through the spine, and come to stand in Tadasana once again. Take one more big breath in Tadasana again, anchoring down and rising through the crown of the head. And then with real gentleness, real tenderness towards yourself, towards your body, take a deep breath in and stretch your arms up. Exhale, hinge from your hip crease and fold down over your legs. Inhale and halfway lift, hands to shins or fingertips to the floor. And exhale, plant your hands and step back to downward facing dog. Separate your feet hip distance apart, plug the palms into the floor, wrap the armpits towards your heart. Good. Inhale, shift forward to a plank pose, and exhale right back to the downward facing dog. Stretch your right leg up high to the sky. Turn your right thigh towards the floor, and maybe even bend your left knee to get a little more height in the ball of the right foot. And then drag your heel to your butt and your knee to your nose, shift forward and step your right foot between your hands. So nice. Stay on the ball of the back foot, lift your torso all the way up, drive the pubic bone forward. Nice big breath in. And then exhale, straighten the right leg and fold down into this variation of Uttanasana. So lift the back heel nice and high so the pelvis is a little bit higher. Push into the ball of your front foot and then crawl your fingertips forward. So there's a real sense of length through the left side body. Full contact, right thigh to belly. So keep taking the right hip crease back. Take another big breath in. And then bend the right knee nice and deep and step back, downward facing dog once again. Pause in the downward facing dog for a moment. And then inhale, shift forward to plank. And exhale, lower to your belly. Press your pubic bone into the mat, tops of the feet into the mat, and a nice small cobra pose. And exhale, lower back down. Inhale, press up to all fours. Exhale, bring your big toes to touch and press back to child's pose. Take a nice big breath in child's pose. Long breath out. Inhale, come up to all fours. And exhale, back to downward facing dog. Give it a moment in downward facing dog. Buttock bones high to the sky. Little gentle bend in the knees. Keep that little bend in the right knee, maybe even deepen it. Lift your left leg up to the sky. Push through the ball of the left foot. Take your heel to your butt, your knee to your nose, and step your left foot forward. Get your knee in your armpit so it's well organized, and then unfold. Lift your torso up, high lunge. Drive your pubic bone forward. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale. Fingertips to the floor. Start to straighten that left leg. Once you come down, rather than jamming the heel back, come high on the ball of the foot and then crawl your fingertips forward. Full contact with your belly to your thigh. Push into the ball of your left foot. So rather than jamming the left knee back, there's a sense of lifting the buttock bone from the ball of the foot. Rebend the left knee and step back, downward facing dog. Very nice. Walk your feet forward to your hands once again. And this time grab a blanket and place it underneath of your heels. And then measure 2 fists between the arches of your feet once again. And scoop up the heels just like we did before. So the heel is making good contact with the palm of the hand. God, it's really hot in here. Oh my God, I'm only 15 minutes in. Oh, I don't want to do this. Keep thinking that the thigh is moving forward into the belly. Knees are moving slightly out to the armpits. You can remember that feeling of when we crisscross the ankles. Bringing the pelvis forward so you're a little more into the ball of the foot and the crown of the head can spill down. Good. Release your hands from your heels and remove the blanket. And set it aside and just dangle over the legs once again. What gentleness and tenderness can you invite in for yourself? Letting these forward folds really be an invitation to coming home to yourself, to a full, embodied, sensual experience. Tune in for a moment to the feeling of your feet on the floor, of the air on your skin, and just like whatever's alive for you right now. So nice. And then again, bend your knees. Let your torso and your head be heavy. And slowly drive the knees forward as you roll your spine up. Pause at the top again. Stand in Uttanasana and just feel. Recommit again to that sense of driving down through the feet, of lifting up through the legs and up through the crown of the head, your palms forward. Very good. Again, take a deep breath in. Exhale, hinge from your hip crease and fold down. Inhale and halfway lift. And exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Little variation of what we just did. Take your right leg up to the sky once again. Spin the thigh towards the floor. Exhale, squeeze your heel to your butt, your knee to your nose, and step the right foot through. This time, pin your back heel down, and we'll come into a modified warrior one. So shoulders forward in front of the hips quite a bit. So you're a little pitched forward, opening up that back calf. Bend your right knee deeply. A little priority to the right hip wrapping underneath of you. And then exhale, straighten your right leg and fold down. Uttanasana, you might need to adjust that back foot. Again, fingertips are crawling forward so that you can really find some length through the side body. And then rebend your right knee, downward facing dog. Pause and downward facing dog. Feel the breath. Maybe a little bend in the knees. Widening the sitting bones just like you did in the forward fold. Good, and then little bend in the right knee. Stretch your left leg up high to the sky. Spin the left thigh towards the floor. That's it. Bend your heel to your butt, your knee to your nose, and step the left foot forward. Pin your right heel down once again and lift your torso into that modified warrior one. So there's a real sense of wrapping your left hip bone underneath of you. Chest is nice and forward. Take your pinkies towards your ears. Contract your navel point back, straighten your left leg, and fold forward on your exhale. And again, you might need to adjust that back foot. Stretch your fingertips forward. Uttanasana means extreme side stretch. So the goal of this shape is to get all this opening through the right side body, not just the focus on the left hamstring. Left hip crease is moving back. Take another deep breath in. And then transition back, downward facing dog once again. Super nice. Take a nice couple breaths in down dog. Smooth, even inhale, smooth, even exhale. Good. Lower down to all fours now, and then walk your hands back to your feet. And this is a little tricky. You might have to adapt this to your body. Roll over your feet into a malasana, a squat. And you can always place a blanket underneath of your heels. Bring your hands to heart center, knees inside, elbows inside of knees, pardon me, and push your elbows out into your knees and your knees into your elbows to lift your chest a little higher. Couple nice big breaths here. Good. Let's take a spinal twist. Take your right hand to the inside of your right knee and then stretch your left arm up to the sky. Really anchor yourself in your feet and feel all the points of contact in your body. And again, if this is difficult for you, and even if it's not, what gentleness and tenderness can you offer yourself here in this shape? How can you make it a little more of an invitation into connection and less imposition? Mindfully come out of there, back to the center, hands to your heart. And then take your left hand to the inside of your left leg and curl your right arm up to the sky. Good. Bring your right fingertips back to the floor. Bring your fingertips to the floor. Spin off of the heel so the toes come forward, heels back, and fold under your legs in this little bit wider stance now. Think that your knees are moving towards the armpits. You can grab onto the backs of the heels, maybe even find a little bend in the knee. And breathe. So nice. Good. Bring the fingertips back to the floor. Spin the heels back in and lower back into your squat. Fingertips to the floor, straighten the legs, spin the heels back out. Good. Do that a few times. Heels in, butt drops. Heels out. If you want to make this a little friskier, as you lower in the squat, take your arms forward, and as you straighten your legs, fingertips back behind you. Or you can keep them on the floor. Do that just a couple more times, in and out. Nice. Last time. Good. Come back down into that squat. Very good. Fingertips to the floor, heels and toes in line again, feet parallel. Heel toe your feet hip distance apart. And now grab onto your big toes with your index and middle finger. Inhale and halfway lift, long spine forward. And exhale, fold over your legs. Another big breath. Think that as you pull down, you're bending your elbows out to the side, widening your collarbones. Very good. Release your big toes. Bend your knees, Uttanasana, chair pose. Push all the way up to stand, and then take your arms at your side. Pause in Tadasana. Very nice job. From here, we're going to step forward into a Virabhadrasana 3, a warrior 3. So think that you're contracting your navel point back, and you're going to step your right foot forward on your mat. Take your arms forward and your leg back behind you. Dipping your chest towards the floor. Nice big breath. Keep lengthening through that left foot and forward through those arms, forward through the sternum. One more big breath. Good. Push all the way up to stand, nice and powerful, and let your arms fall at your side. Walk backwards on your mat. Right to the back of the mat again. In between sides, just find some stillness. Palms forward. Anchor down through your feet. Lift up through the crown of your head. From here, again, navel point back, little sense of connection, pubic bone to navel center. Step your left foot forward. Lift your arms up. Lift your right leg. Virabhadrasana 3. Couple more big breaths. Good. Push all the way to stand. Power through that left leg. Lower your hands to Tadasana. Walk forward. Nice and gentle. Find connection with the mat. Pause here. Take your feet wider than your hips, and then just sway side to side, letting your arms smack your body. Taking all the rigidity off. See if you can find a little bit of pleasure here, of the sensation of the arms swinging, the joints moving. Good. And then pause in the center of yourself. Take the feet once again hip distance apart. Take a deep breath in. Stretch your arms up. Exhale, hinge from your hip crease. Fold down over your legs again. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take your right leg up high to the sky, and exhale, step your right foot forward. This time, pin your back heel down, warrior 2. Right on up. Bend your right knee out over your second toe. Ankle your navel point ever so slightly to the left. Gaze out over your right hand. Stand strong in your feet. And again, feel that connection to yourself. And how when you approach yourself with gentleness and precision, and when you hold that with stability, there's a real sense of steady opening. Another deep breath in. And then cartwheel your hands to the mat. Downward facing dog. Quick little surprise, forward to floating up dog. Keep your toes curled under, open your chest. Exhale, back to down dog. Take your left leg high, deep breath in. Exhale, transition your left foot forward, back heel down, right into warrior 2. Anchor your navel point to the right. Bend your left knee deeply. Again, stand strong and firm and stable, and be tender and receptive and soft. Another deep breath. And then cartwheel your hands to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Good, lower to all fours. On all fours, inhale, find a little back bend. Exhale, big toes touching, child's pose. Let your elbows fall to the floor. Inhale, come back up to all fours. A little back bend, soften your belly. Exhale, tuck your chin and your tail and move back, child's pose. Please continue a couple more rounds like that. Just matching again movement and breath. Connecting all these pieces of yourself. Very nice. Last time, back to the child's pose. This time, take your hands back and grab your heels if you're able. You can always prop this up, forehead on the mat. Let the breath get a little quiet. Breath nice and smooth. Very good. Gently and slowly bring yourself up. Grab a blanket and have a seat on that blanket. Take your right heel into your groin and extend your left leg out long. Good. And the right heel can come to the inner thigh if this is too much for you. Turn your navel point out over your extended left leg for Janu Shirshasana. And exhale, fold yourself down when you're ready. Once you come down, inhale and halfway lift. Lengthen the front of the spine nice and long. And then fold down again. If you wish, you can take a block and put it at the sole of your left foot. Giving yourself another anchor point, another place to connect and meet yourself. Allow yourself to really turn inward here for this moment. Very good. Lengthen the front of your spine and please come up very slow. It's a big stretch. When you arrive at the top, just give it a moment. And then switch sides. Extend the right leg long. Pull the left heel either in towards the groin or into the inner thigh. Shift forward onto your perineum and then turn your chest out over your extended right leg. Take a nice deep breath in and then hinge forward. And once you're down, come up halfway for a moment again. Lengthen the whole of the front of the spine and then bow. And again, if you wish, you can take a block to the sole of the right foot. Turn your left shoulder towards the floor, the whole left side of the torso. Tuck the chin a little bit so it's in what is known as Jalandhara Bandha. And soothe yourself with your own breath. So much of our maturity and our ability to function well is centered around our tenderness towards ourselves and our ability to self-soothe and regulate. And breath and poses like this are two of our tools. Another couple breaths here, turning in, tuning in. Lengthen the front of your spine and gently rise. Again, nice and slow. Try not to move too much at the top. It's a big shape. So just give it a moment. Good. And then take your legs and extend both of them about the width of your mat. Get right up on your perineum. And fold down into sort of a happy baby shape. So get your knees and your armpits, lengthen the front of your spine, hold your heels, and then wiggle the perineum back. Another moment here, just finding connection and length. Good. And then from here now, take your right hand to your left shin and then cross your left hand over your right. And then you can extend the legs a little bit, but do that by taking your bum back. And you can even stretch the legs apart a little bit if you wish. I'm stuck to the floor. So that it's a little bit wider, but not wider than you can grab with your hands. And now I have full contact with my right knee to my right shoulder. I'm going to unthread my left arm and twist, spinning around myself. I've got a pretty generous bend in my knees. So I'm lengthening through my side body, broadening my collarbones, left arm to the sky. Take your left arm alongside of your ear. You might even be able to reach over your head and grab your right shin and spin back to the middle. So now take your right arm and unthread it, left side body, full contact with your left knee, left thigh, right arm to the sky. Find the little back bend that's in this forward fold. That will give you the rotation. And then right arm over your head reaches for left ankle and spin to the center. Let's do that one more time on both sides. Unthread the left arm and put a spin on it. Exhale, fold it down. Grab that left ankle, spin to the midline. Right arm unwinds, take it up. Right arm over, fold back down. Good. Once again, uncross the arms, grab the heels, and then straighten the legs a little more if you wish. Fold down. Slightly wider forward fold. Lengthen the front of your spine and gently and slowly come all the way up. So good. Bring the soles of your feet together in Baddha Konasana. So feet touching, and then measure so that the heels are pubic bones, a block's distance between the pubic bone and the heels. Get right on top of the perineum. Grab onto your big toes, index and middle fingers. Inhale, lengthen the front of your spine, and then exhale, fold part way down. Good. Use an in-breath and come part way up. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Inhale, come up a little more. And now exhale, fold down to your deepest point. You might be more elevated with your fingertips on the floor. That's perfectly fine. And just settle into your breath. Lengthen the front of your spine and sit all the way back up. Very nice. Cross your right ankle in front of your left, bringing your shins parallel to the front edge of the mat. This is option one. If you'd like to go a little deeper, I hate to use that word, if you need a more intense outer hip stretch, we'll say, you can bring your right ankle to your left knee in that double pigeon or fire log pose, as it is known. And you might even place a block underneath of that right knee. Again, get right on the perineum and then gently crawl, fingertips forward, lengthening from the front of the spine. So either the front shin is in front of the left, crossing, or the shins are stacked. If the shins are stacked, we want there to be no creases in the left ankle. And tune into your breath. Again, what gentleness, precision, tenderness can you offer yourself here? Walk your hands back up nice and slow and switch the cross of the legs. So again, the more parallel to the front edge of the mat the cross is, the more sensation there will be in the hip. And if you want more sensation than the crossed legs, you can take your left ankle to your right knee. And some of you might need just a little help. You could put a stack of blankets or a block underneath of the left knee. Get right up on top of your perineum and poke the tailbone slightly back, and then fold yourself forward. I like to be up on fingertips so it's nice and light. Rather than when the palm is down, things get very heavy, and there's a real buoyancy to staying more elevated on the fingertips. Couple nice big breaths here. Lengthen the front of your spine and gently sit all the way back up. Good. Uncross your legs. Remove that blanket out from underneath of you and grab 2 blocks. We're going to take a supported bridge pose to bring the curve back into our spine. So soles of the feet on the floor. Slide those 2 blocks underneath of the sacrum and then bring the soles of the feet back to the earth. And allow now the belly, the hip flexors, the front body to open, just gently inviting the curve back into the spine from all of our forward folding work. Allow yourself to just breathe. Sometimes it's nice to not, be overly concerned about the way in which you're breathing. When you're breathing, your body is just fulfilling its need for oxygen, and it's matching your metabolic rate. And there's times to deep breathe so that we can unravel habits and seduce ourselves out of our habits and into our potential, and to work with tissues. And there is also a truth that the body knows what it needs, and it knows how to breathe and how much to breathe. And a shape like this lends itself to opening and expanding the housing of the lungs, hip, hip, shoulder, shoulder, and shoulder to hip. So we're already impacting the structure of the organ just by the structure of the frame. And so rather than forcing breath, it can be a powerful thing to just simply observe and to let the body breathe. Again, building an intimacy with ourself rather than a constant state of correction. Truly, I said it at the beginning, but so many of us have a relationship with yoga that is all about self-correction and improving something. And I'm not saying that's wrong. Of course, we want to grow. Of course, we want to get better. But it's often coming from a lack of self-love, not a place of support. Take your legs up to the sky in this sort of legs up the wall variation. Sacrum nice and heavy. It's almost like your feet are dangling even though they're up in the air. So the femur bone, the head of the thigh bone, is just really sinking into the pelvis. There's a cup there called your acetabulum, and you can imagine that ball is really resting in the mitt of the hip. And feel the change in the breath just by the virtue of the change in shape. Again, starting to observe these things in ourselves really builds an intimacy, and that's one of the gifts of a slowed down practice, is this cultivation of sensory relationship, of closeness, and learning to trust the body and the breath. Good. Lower one foot to the floor, and then lower the other foot to the floor. Lift up your pelvis and remove the blocks. And now I want you to come down bum first, so you're keeping the arch in the back. And then take your feet wide and your knees together in this core resting pose, hand to heart, hand to belly. Good. So a bit out of character today, we're actually going to finish our practice with a little bit of gentle breath work. So roll over to a fetal position on one side and gently press yourself up. And then please elevate your pelvis on a blanket or a bolster, or you can sit in Virasana on a block. I'm going to sit on my blankets. We always want the pelvis higher than the knees. So 1 or 2 blankets under your bum. And sit cross-legged, and then lean forward so you can really get on your perineum, placed between the anus and the sex organs, and then sit up nice and tall. And lower your gaze 9/10 of the way, or close your eyes as you wish. And start to practice just a gentle Ujjayi breath, so a little constriction around the vocal cords, like you were putting a filter on the breath. So the breath becomes oceanic and audible. Now, as you breathe in that way, I want you to start to think that as you breathe in, you're breathing down into your depths, down into the pelvic bowl, down into the core of the planet. And at the same time as you're breathing in, you're breathing up and into your heights, up above the crown of the head, into your connection with the universal. And as you exhale, let all of that contract back to the middle. So imagine this mediation point right at the center of yourself in the belly. And then go again. As you breathe in, go up into your heights, down into your depths, expanding vertically, up, 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 and down, down, down. And when you breathe out, it's reconciled in the middle. 2 more times like that, playing your heights and playing your depths. It's almost like there's this golden rod from above the crown of the head all the way right through the middle of you and down through the core of the planet. And every time you breathe in, you're going higher and higher and lower and being pulled in two directions. And as you exhale, it's reconciled right at the center of yourself, building your pranic center, your chi center around the belly. Good. Now, keeping that same breath, we're just going to change the intent of it. So now, as you breathe, I want you to think that you're breathing front to back. So now, as you breathe in, fill out a little more your sports bra or your t-shirt in the front of the body and the back of the body. And as you exhale, it's reconciled in the middle. A few more times like that, filling out the front and the back of your shirt or your sports bra. And as you breathe out, it's reconciled in the middle. So we're just using the tissues of the body differently. So when we do breath work, keep going with that effort, the air that comes into the lungs doesn't change. It's still going into the little sacs in the lungs. They're filling exactly the same way no matter how you breathe. But we're playing with the supporting structures, which impacts our breath, not the air, but our breath and the organ systems. So breathing front to back a couple more times, expanding front of the ribs, back of the ribs. And now breathing in the same way, expand your ribs side to side. So now think that you're filling the sides of your shirt, and you might even bring your hands up around your ribs. And as you breathe in, expand side to side. And then as you breathe out, it's reconciled in the middle. As you breathe in, side to side. And as you breathe out, it's reconciled in the middle. One more time like that. Good. Now we're going to put all those pieces together for a few rounds of breath. So as you breathe in, fill your heights, your depths, your front and your back, your memory and potential. Fill your lunar side and your solar side. Expand in every direction. And as you exhale, concentrate in. Let all of that be radiated, concentrated down around the navel center, reconciled in the middle of you. Every time you breathe in, fill up and expand in every direction. The universe above you, the ground of being below you, potential in front of you, memory behind you, your heart to the left, the world to the right. Expand in all ways. And then as you exhale, let that sense of light contract back in around the navel center. 2 more times. Breathing in, filling up in every direction. And exhaling back to the mediation, the center of you. Last time. And this time after you exhale, let it be like you let a wild horse out of the gate. Just take all the patterning off the breath and just sit with yourself for a moment. Feel your hands on your knees, the connection of your body to the floor. Maybe you can even feel your heart beating. Let the breath be erratic. Tune into the sensation on your skin. As much as you can tolerate, be present in this building, this body that is a house and a magical abode of your own. Take your hands in front of your face and rub your palms together vigorously. Get some heat in your hands between your palms. When there's some good heat, cup your hands over your eyes, fingertips on your hairline. Let the darkness in, opening your eyes. And then release your palms, let in the light, and welcome yourself back. Very gentle, not very long practice. And not so focused on our physicality, but a real invitation home to yourself. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you again soon.